prison. So,
Come on.
All right.
everyone
recording
stand
started.
up, right? Everyone
Yep.
rise?
Your judge.
We're all
Honor,
risen.
do I have to stand up in real life?
No, just
Damn
in the
it! Too
game.
late. I'm already standing.
I'll commemorate you for that though.
Thank you.
You are a good bystander.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. You have come for the case of Paul Beanham Davis versus the Fox race, Fox kind, even as you'd like to call them. His charges against Fox kind include mass genocide and public autonomous execution on a massive scale. If the prosecution and would like to introduce yourself.
Yo!
No need for that. I'm gonna have to go back and edit this video now. God damn.
Oh no!
No, we're good. Keep going.
I am the prosecution. Hello.
And would the defense
G.
like to? And would the defense like to introduce themselves?
What's
only
up?
Only the lawyer.
My name is Paul.
Oh, you're not supposed to talk.
Well, he can talk, but
Yeah.
My name is.
he doesn't have to.
My name
he can let
is-
Cash do that for him.
My name is Cash Medeo, and I'm here to defend my client, Paul Beanham Davis.
All right, everyone may sit down. So, is the prosecution and the defense ready to present their report
Opening
Yes,
statements,
yes,
Yeah.
for the
yes.
jury to hear?
Yes.
All right. Would the prosecution I would like the prosecution to present her case. You have 5 minutes to summarize your points.
Oh, let me just get a timer here. Hold on.
Not your entire case, just summarize.
Timer. You said 4 hours?
5 minutes.
Now you have 3.5.
Excuse me.
Oh, God.
You have 5 minutes to summarize.
Here,
your
I
case.
got you, I got-
summarize.
I got-
Do I need to
Not
pass
your
out my
whole
book?
case. Not your whole case. Summarize.
Okay,
That's for
summary.
later.
Leave the juicy bits for later.
Exactly.
Summary.
These
I
are
had a new
just
neighbor.
basically the opening
Excuse me. I had a
Sure.
new neighbor. I went ahead to visit neighbor's house and I saw many different violations of code and torture of animals. When I went over to their house and I told them to fix it, I came back and it got worse. And now we are here in this courthouse today. Thank you very much.
Are you finished?
Yes, this is my summary.
All right. If the defense would like to present their summary, you have 5 minutes.
My client has been accused of animal violations and whatnot, as this lovely lady has just said. But I would like to say that these animals actually weren't in any way in any nasty conditions, and that my client here is not guilty of a lot of the charges against him, as we will dive into later.
All right. Now I'd like the prosecution to delve in more into their case. You are free to begin. You have as much time as you need.
Okay, all right. I would just like to point out that I have books here. Here you go. You guys can share. Here you go. Here you go. Everyone gets a book. Everybody gets a book.
Do you have enough books for everybody?
Everybody gets a book. Everyone gets a book.
Okay, Oprah.
I didn't get a
All
book.
right. You can follow along with me. Everyone
I
got
didn't
their
get a
own
book.
Who didn't get a book? Your book is behind you.
Oh my god, I can't get it.
Oh dear.
I
I
can't
have
get
extra
it.
book. I have extra book. Relax. Here.
Thank you.
The fuck. Anyways,
Cash, can I see the book, please?
Yes, you may, sir. Here you go.
so in here, guys, I have a summary of what I was gonna say in case I wasn't able to make it to the courthouse today, but I'm here. So, now, if you guys have second monitors, I would like you to come and look at what I have to offer as evidence.
All right.
Give me just one moment. Give me one moment here. Let me prepare. Yes, 9 pages. Yes, problem.
She can't fucking prepare them.
All right. All
Let's see
right.
this.
All right.
This bullshit.
So, as I said, let me read it for you guys. In the case of Miss G versus Paul, it all started on April 21st, 2021, just in case, we're on different years. I went to my new neighbor, Paul's house. He built a nice rail for me to get there, and I used said rail to get there. Now, when I went downstairs,
Yeah, I'm coming back.
see a
Hold on.
small structure full of berries and foxes. Let me play it for you so you can see my issue here.
Oh, Gavin, do you already know the evidence?
No, I don't have to know the evidence. That's up to you to see it.
No,
I'm not looking at it.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure
not looking
that
at
the
This is the small structure of berries and foxes that I saw.
I see it.
Yes. Continuing.
Mhm.
I asked him what this was, and he says, "This is Amazon."
No, this is Amazon. No, this is Amazon.
Then he tells me to take a look. I did not get this in recording, but in there was a chest full of berries that these foxes that are not being paid for their work. See, and I just want to point out, in recent news, if you haven't noticed, Amazon is under extreme scrutiny for horrible worker conditions, and for him to call this structure right here, Amazon, for him to call this Amazon, I can't. Foxes? One of the newest mobs, Minecraft, and the first thing he does is put them to work with no pay in a basement underwater? Okay, alright, okay. Well, I told him to get rid of it, okay, because this can't happen. So, then, here, I have to pull up the second one here.
Please.
I'm watching here, and what does he do? What does he do?
No assaulting people on my.
He kills the skeleton, okay, and boom, twerkity twerk. Then Joe asked him, to Johnny, who's not here, so I can't use him as a witness because he's not here. Do you really want to go back to that prison? And you might be like, what prison? What prison are we talking about here? Well, I made another visit to the base. And right here, what does it say? Cell block A. Cell block A. And what is this to the right? The berries. But the foxes are gone. You may be like, where are the foxes? What happened to the foxes? More on that later. Don't you worry. But anyway, continuing on. Here, there are villagers here. Underground, underwater. And an empty cell where Johnny was. Johnny was tortured here. I still don't know why Johnny was in this cell. I would like to ask Paul himself, but we'll come back to that later. Okay. Now, when I asked him what's going on here, he says, "Where else should I put the villagers?" I don't know. In a village where they live. But okay. All right. Cool. Now, then we find out about said villagers. Okay, I'm not villagers, foxes. Sorry, excuse me. We found out about the foxes finally. I was on my way back using the nice Minecraft rail system that was, given to me. And
Get that footage.
I said all the foxes free.
he set the foxes free. That's what he said. Listen closely.
Yeah, from life itself.
They should be in the nether.
Fox in the nether? Foxes that came from the forest in the nether? Really?
What?
Miss Miss G, you should go on Law and Order.
I should. I really should. Yes. Continuing.
Why?
So I'm gonna go to the second part of this because there's a 2-part clip and it starts at the same point. So we're like, why are the foxes in the Nether? What happened? Why did they go to the Nether?
They're in the Nether. Why? I tried to let them out through the water thing, and
Through his water entrance to the basement. If anyone's been down there, the water entrance to the basement. Foxes from the forest. Who knows if they can swim? But okay.
one drowned.
One drowned. We know for certain that one drowned died.
Yeah, them foxes dead.
When everyone gives their opinion.
They drowned.
Yeah. So they went to the Nether and lost.
Said and lost their life, but continuing on.
Okay.
I guess because they couldn't work for him anymore, and he had to get rid of them. He wanted to get rid of them permanently. Couldn't work anywhere, but all right. Continuing on. I have 2 more final pieces of evidence. I'll be posting all of these for you people to see during your recess. It's there. Listen. Firstly, right here in this next clip, Paul himself says everything that he's done wrong. Everything. Listen.
I know I committed homicide. And not paying my workers. That is the only 3.
He missed the mass genocide. He's saying that he didn't do that, but he did. He killed those poor foxes, those poor endangered foxes. Have you seen foxes? I bet you haven't. Why? They're endangered.
What evidence would there be?
Then we're talking about a hypothetical chicken that could have maybe made its way into his basement through the water elevator somehow. But just listen.
With the fucking chicken.
You don't know. There might be bloodstains on the chicken from your incidents.
What's the goddamn chickens? I've never even had a chicken out here.
Maybe the chicken knew where he was, but you never saw him.
No.
Oh my god.
If there was a wild chicken down here, that thing would have been dead.
What did he say there? Let's listen again.
Down here, that thing would have been dead.
If there was a wild chicken down there, it would have been dead, just like those foxes. Now he wants to first kill the endangered people and say, all right, let's go for the chickens too. Anyway, so I believe with these pieces of evidence here, we know that Paul is a menace to society and needs to be stopped. If he's doing this to the civilians who are walking across, minding their business, if he's doing that to the civilians, and if he's doing this to Johnny, imprisoning him for no reason,
Wait.
who knows what else
I
he
mean,
can
he
do?
kind of deserves it.
Wait, why did he get imprisoned?
Listen,
We've
I don't know
been
why
I
Johnny got
didn't know.
imprisoned. I've been asking, but don't worry. When the defense
Objection.
starts, Paul can explain himself. So anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Yes, I'll be posting these now.
I'm sorry. Is this
While
some
the
kind of
defense
joke
is
to you,
going.
Miss G?
Nope, this is not no joke.
Yeah, don't worry.
Absolutely no joke.
Like, hearing, just calm down.
Prosecution is finished.
You rest your case.
I rest my case. Paul is
Thank
an
you.
endangerment to society.
All right, thank you very much, Miss G. Now I would like to throw it to the defense to bring their case up.
Okay. Well, first of all, I hope everybody is having a good evening currently right now in our wonderful Minecraft society. First thing that I like to say is that when it comes to the case of Paul, I think first of all, even though I understand your concerns about the villagers and the mistreatment down there, we should focus mainly on the whole incident with the foxes and the issues regarding the animal cruelty, quote unquote, that the foxes were going through. Now, a lot of has been said has been true. Miss G did go to my client's house in order to see the foxes and also ask for them to be released. What she didn't say, and because she didn't do anything about it, was that she never helped my client here get rid of any of the foxes, considering how this was a major issue regarding or involving her. You would think that as somebody who is really emotionally invested into the safety of foxes or any animal creature, you think that she would just go in and try to help out Paul or try to give him some ways to help out with the foxes. But as she did not mention, she didn't do anything. Another thing that I would like to mention is that if you actually think about foxes as a species, they don't require a lot of space to move and to prosper. They live in small burrows. They can stay in small areas for long periods of time. We also have to mention, or what my client has mentioned, was that the foxes were released and allowed to have free time to roam around and then put back into place. Another thing that I would like to mention too, along with when it comes to animals and whatnot, is that a lot of animals are indeed used for some sort of labor. We use cows to pull our cattle. Our wagons or anything like that. If you were going back into history, we also use animals for our own sort of resources, including also for food, mainly for food. Like we slaughter pigs, cows, sheep all the time. The thing is, though, is that a lot of that stuff is a lot more regulated. Paul was a little bit more regulated. It could be better, as a lot of us could agree. But again, we also have to remember too that foxes don't require a lot of space to move around, so they don't really need a lot of space to do everything that that you would think other larger animals may need to do. Another thing that I'd like to point out too with the case of these foxes is that, as was mentioned before, they were released into the Nether. This is true. But, again, as I said before, with Miss She didn't help with the release of these foxes and make sure that they go to a proper sanctuary of some sort. So, if nobody helps my client figure out a way to get the foxes out of his basement and whatnot, how can he actually really comply with anybody? So it's literally like you're telling him to do almost an impossible task, because you have to remember his basement is literally like really fucking down, like deep. It's literally close to around like 12 to 11.
Honor.
Is that supposed to be an objection?
Yes.
What reason?
Your Honor.
What do you object to?
All right. Listen. He just said, well, how much help him to get them out of the basement, right? Well, who helped him to get them in there in the first place? How did they get there in the first place?
Well, Paul, would you like to answer this?
Yes. Now, I know it sounds easy to get the foxes into the basement,
Wait.
but it really wasn't. It took about a day of hard work to get them in.
Hang
But due to my...
Shouldn't we wait until we call him up to the juror or to the witness box to be asking the client any questions?
Okay.
If the lawyer would like to present him as witness, then by all means.
You could be as witness. Go up there and speak your case.
All right.
He should be up there in his case.
Yes.
As I was saying, it was not easy. Can you please get out of my face? Anyway, it was not easy to get them into the facility. It took me about a day of hard work. Hard work to get them there. And so to even extricate them from my base would have been a monumentous task.
Yes, a day of safely returning them to the environment where they belong.
Actually, the cart system didn't exist, and they refused to follow me after we hit the Nether.
It was almost like they were wanting to get away from the torture.
I was trying to set them free, Miss G.
Why didn't you set them free into the forest? Why didn't you build a way?
Obviously, you haven't been to my base because there's only
You-
2 ways in and 2 ways out. There is a fucking water column, and
A
there is
fucking
a-
Wallum column. Blah, 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 blah.
there's a water column that is 60 blocks deep.
Okay, I have a question.
Any actual creature would drown.
So why not just build a way for them to get out and cover it back up after they
You
left?
see, that would structurally compromise the facility, and I was not willing to make that sacrifice.
You did build this entire courthouse in a night. You couldn't have done that? For
No,
Foxes?
I couldn't, because this is building something up. Me
Also, yeah,
structurally compromising the facility would have put lives at risk.
Also, I'd like to mention too that again, Paul was at this by himself. He actually got enlisted of me and Gavin to help build up this property. So you're asking somebody how they were able to build this up in a night. Well, yes, he had help. So if he's doing something alone, how can he really do that within a night? He can't do that in a night. That'll take longer.
Continue on, Mr. Defense.
Yeah,
sir.
feel free to return to your desk, witness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, I would still like to point out, Your Honor, that Miss G still has not said or given any reasons why she didn't help Paul at all with this situation. So, Miss G, if you can actually explain this to everybody why you didn't help him, especially when this is mainly your issue with it.
You don't know why I didn't help him?
Yes.
Because I could not help this man. I would have looked at this building, this facility that he had, this structure, and broke it all down, and probably folded him in the process. So instead, I took myself away from the equation. That way, nothing bad could happen to me, to Paul,
May I ask a
to the
question?
Foxes.
Yes.
You expect him to do all of this himself, but yet you say that you can't do any of it as well.
Exactly what I was saying, right?
Because I didn't want to hurt him, or myself,
Hmm.
or the Foxes.
Well, I would also like to point this out too, Lady G. Dang, that actually sounds like a rapper name. I'm so sorry. But I would like to point this out too. Shouldn't you have mainly used a lot of that anger or frustration to actually better equip yourself to help the Foxes and whatnot? It seems like you're not really able to be in a stable position for yourself, and that seems like kind of a concern, especially for our community. Now, I'm not saying you're a danger to society or anything like that, of course. That's not what I'm saying. But I would say that I don't really believe that your reasonings for not helping the Foxes is really a good one. Especially if this was such a huge issue for you. You should have actually done something a little bit more, but that part is a little bit more of a subjective thought. But continuing on with my defense with my client Paul here, another thing that I would like to mention is that again, these animals, or foxes and whatnot, they're very similarly treated as other farm animals. Like, they were dehydrated, they weren't underfed, they were just doing their work. They were allowed to have free recess, according to my client. Let my book go for a second. Let me get back to place. Hold on 1 second. Also, we will show this video here soon, but I will also like to mention that me and my client here, or mainly my client, will be countersuing the prosecutor for hypocrisy. We're countersuing her for hypocrisy, and this is mainly due to shit. There goes Red.
Right. Are you okay?
I'm sure he's still listening. So
Okay,
Oh
but
shit.
yeah, come on back, buddy. But I would like to bring in one of my witnesses here, Mr. Zadigian, up to the front of the court, please.
Yes.
Wait, is that how you say your last name, Spencer?
Yeah. Zadigian.
Zadig-
Zadigian.
Oh.
Let me get
Zadig-
the evidence up.
Yeah, get it. Just get it up. I'm going to ask you a couple questions for.
Hang on, before you start,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Mr. Can you please present your name, Mr. Witness?
Yes.
Occupation.
Hello, everybody. My name is Spencer Cameron Zadigian. I am a witness of the
And what is your-
hypocrisy.
And what is your profession, sir?
I guess you could say private eye for hire.
All right, you may continue.
All right.
All right. So, Mr. Sadigian, please let me ask you something about this whole case. So first, what were your initial thoughts about everything?
Well, I'm not sure if most of you had known this, but the night of the whole incident, I had gotten a fever due to the coronavirus vaccine. I had a very bad reaction to it. I had a 102 fever. I felt like shit the entire day. Or, no, wait, no, wait. My bad, That was when I was at work. My bad. I worked 11 hours that day, starting at 5 a.m. to about 4:20 p.m. Go ahead
Okay,
and giggle
4:20 blaze it.
if you would wish.
You're welcome.
But yes, I was at work for 11 hours doing almost nothing the latter half of the time there. I was not prepared to go into work said start time of 5 a.m. So when I got home, I did not know what was going on at all. So it was all news to me when everyone started saying a court case was happening. So my whole initial reaction to this was, what the fuck happened? What did I miss when I went to bed at 8 o'clock at night?
Right. Now, I understand that too. I would be very confused as well. I am still somewhat confused by a lot of this. But with a little bit of your help and also digging through some information, we were able to kind of piece things a little bit better to make a more cohesive thought as a whole. Now, Mr. Tadigian, I would like to ask you, before we present this evidence, what were you doing to where you actually got this evidence? Before we talk about it.
Initially, I had I was building another portal, and I somehow got connected to a centralized hub that has been already established in said nether realm. I saw structures of proportions that I did not know what they were for initially until I took a closer look. I saw it was a rail system towards Miss G's residence.
Okay.
I did not know about that until I got out of said portal.
Okay. So, before I also talk more about why we are countersuing for hypocrisy, can you please tell me your feelings of what you saw that evening that you recorded this?
I was appalled that after I had actually learned about what was going down before this, because I was told that I should not worry about it until the day of, but information slipped and I had learned. And once I learned that, I was like, oh, okay, I see. This is, excuse my language, Your Honor, fucking stupid.
Oh, yeah, please, you're fine.
Yes,
okay,
but,
so...
Yeah.
Okay,
anyway,
okay, was that it?
After I had stumbled out of the portal, I had seen the hypocrisy happening after I learned the information of this case.
Yeah. And honestly, I cannot blame you for that. So, you can stay right there because you are going to be the one who's going to have the honor of presenting this evidence forward for us. So, to pretty much explain what you're about to see, your discretion is also advised for everyone here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch.
Yes, this will be. It will be on the screen.
Yeah, it will.
Yes. But what you will witness is hypocrisy, even on a greater scale of what the prosecutor. I'm screaming too, exactly. But my Sorry, I just had a brain fart there. Excuse me.
No,
My witness here, one day, as you already said, actually connected to Miss G's house using the Nether system that we are currently in development of in this realm. And when he got to the residence of Miss G, what he saw was a facility or her home that seemed like a worse facility of the Foxes. Um, were animals in small pits, small crowded pits. Multiple of them, like at least 50 animals per pit. And these weren't just small animals like bunnies or foxes. These were larger farm animals that actually do require a lot of space. In short summary of how it looks, it's pretty much like Johnny's Chicken Factory in one of the older Minecraft servers. If everybody remember, was very unsafe because one creeper is all it took to blow up the chicken factory and to cook half of the chicken there and release the other half onto the small island. Now,
Yeah,
if
but then
my
again, it's like, it's Jonathan.
yes, and that's also what's kind of scary here. So, Mr. Sadigian, can you please screen share
Yes.
your video?
I'll just do screen 1, 1080. All right. I just want to make sure everyone can see it once they connect. Yes.
I'm watching.
Yes.
I am
Yes, I do
seeing
see.
wiggling around, yes. I also
Okay,
see my duck
okay.
pouch and my very cute.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
All right. I tried to edit the audio out. I decided that was not worth my time. So there's voices in the background because I forgot to turn off the
Deafin.
voting. No. Well, yes. So viewer discretion is severely advised.
Severely.
We got 5 Cortexes and a Geno. I'm hyped.
Everything seems to be pretty normal, right? Miss G and her
I think you probably should delete that.
Before anyone finds out.
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh,
I'm nowhere near Bubble Talk, bro.
Okay, please keep watching.
Whoa, it's
Okay, can we
Geno,
pause
too.
for a moment because I have something I need to say? Please, can we pause for one moment?
Yes.
Miss, did you realize that in one of your fucking evidence videos, we saw that fucking cavern with the animals in it? I was gonna wait till after, but we
please
fucking
continue.
saw that in your evidence.
Yes. So, Sammy, before we continue, that is also another thing I like to call in journalism framing. It's when you actually take whatever evidence or a scene of something and just frame it to where it actually makes it look like what you want to see. So continue, Mr. Sadigian.
Yes, of course.
I'm sorry, continue. Oh.
Nothing out of the ordinary here.
Paul had this exact same setup. Fine.
No, he didn't.
Should accelerate him. That.
Wow.
Assassin's Creed issue.
Wow.
Wow! Oh my god!
that's a lot of cows.
And here's the worst part.
You can talk,
You
Steve.
can hear that there are dogs inside the house. In their own separate
can't
room
hear-
that doesn't
I can't do
have...
anything.
Oh, well, there's not much audio here right now.
No, you're not supposed to hear anything in the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, as you have just witnessed, everybody, thank you again for your time, Mr. Sadigian. You can please step back to the audience.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So, as everyone has just witnessed, I am very sorry about this disgusting piece of evidence. This is something that should not be tolerated, or should be seen as something that is excusable within the actual.
Sammy?
No,
Are
she'll
you
be
okay?
back.
I'm good. It's just it kicked me from me.
Okay, come back in. Come back in.
You good? You good?
No,
Oh,
she's still listening. She's
Oh,
going.
yeah.
I'm
No,
here
I know.
spiritually.
I just like everybody here. That's
Hi.
I
so everybody, you might want to also wiggle a little bit just in case,
I
so you don't get kicked out.
constantly wiggling.
But yes, so as everyone has just saw in that video, this is obviously a way bigger and way more serious crime against animals, and it's something that was even, in my opinion, and probably some other people's opinion, a bit worse than what the situation was with Paul. And mind you, Paul was very open about everything, and it was also trying to actually comply with Miss G. Miss G has been very secluded from our society, and therefore is very unregulated when it comes to treating her animals. As you even saw in the video, there was literally a pit of cows. And mind you, cows are actual animals that do need a lot of space to graze and to roam and to breed. These cows are literally placed within what it seems like to be a 3x5 pit block or a block or pit,
it actually
and
looked
we're
like a
pretty much
2x2.
It was actually a 4x4.
Yeah,
so
Or
that's even
2x2
worse.
rather.
So
yeah, 2
so
by 2
so a 2x2x2 pit. And we're also not even given any sun, so they can't even sunbathe.
I didn't see any
Um,
grass for food down there.
no grass, no water. It seems like no water source. No room, and a lot of them look probably uncomfortable. Even though this is Minecraft, if this was in a real world scenario, they probably would also have a lot of broken bones, maybe even some infections down there that probably
Jeez.
can't be treated. Um, and all of this was just for her. She hasn't even been sharing this with the community, but then again, as I said before, she has been not really part of this community, so she wouldn't be able to share with us as much, or even to talk to us as much because she is off being in her own thing. Not saying that she has to be part of this community, of course, but as I said before, this kind of goes with how we were trying to regulate Paul here, and while yes, he should have better regulations, and my client also has said that he will try to do better when it comes to regulating his animals in the future, and also to even help our community prosper and grow even more. Miss G, on the other hand, has been shown to have cramped spaces, multiple animals in those cramped spaces, and to be seen in very unhealthy conditions to where most modern farms would not allow this kind of behavior, and most likely will probably be shut down and also be put on file. Um, so again, I will also answer any questions that anybody may have. Also along with the judge. Does
May
the
I
judge
say
have?
something now? Your
Hang
Honor?
on.
Yeah.
Before you start, Miss G, Cash, the jury cannot answer your questions.
Okay.
Or
Well, does
cannot
the judge
ask
have any
questions.
questions?
Yeah, we kind of just chill until the end.
Yeah, but still, I was
All
just.
right, I just want to put one thing out here.
Sustain
This
your
whole
weapon.
case started not because of how he was treating his animals. No, it started because he called it Amazon.
But you are also the one who was saying
Okay.
that these animals were being
He's,
treated.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're making
poor
this
working
more-
conditions for
Yeah,
his
that's
workers
also
of
going-
Amazon. Yes.
Yeah, that's going into animal mistreatment. We're not treating them as workers; they're animals. They're being treated as animals, so we should treat them as animals. Even if you treat them as a worker, quote unquote, like technically you still consider them an animal because technically farmhouse animals are also workers. And also, I find it funny that you're saying that we start this off as being
That's
them being called Amazon
that's
embers,
literally what
but-
it says right here in the book. But
but
okay,
you're
continue
also
on.
saying, okay, even if you did say that, you are also the one who was talking about having certificates and whatnot in prison cells, which doesn't also really matter at this point. That's something that's a completely different case, and it's something that you should have mentioned before. And something that you should have mentioned as a separate entity, as its own, and should have mentioned to everybody before instead of just saving it as firepower for here. This could have been something that could have been solved beforehand, or could have mentioned beforehand, but you failed to actually present that until today because you obviously just want to slander Paul. So,
Damn.
Is that your case defense?
that is my case for now.
All right.
I'm gonna get back to my seat.
We will take this as a 5-minute recess for all members here. Jury, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I'm here.
We will be going into a separate call. I will start the 5 minutes once I read off the rules to you.
Okay.
If you would like to follow me. Everyone else, you're free to do whatever you want in the building.
I'm gonna turn off the recording.
Yeah, please do.
Bye, recording.
Bye. Yep, should be going.
Alright, so I have been told by the jury that a verdict has been reached. If the representative would like to present.
Okay, so on the counts of mass genocide, villager imprisonment, and treatment of workers, we have reached a verdict, and that will be, for mass genocide, we will say not guilty. For villager imprisonment, we will say guilty, 100%, and the poor treatment of workers, i.e. the foxes who were the Amazon workers, is also a guilty verdict. So, we were also told to decide punishments for said guilty charges. So, of course, the first guilty charge will be the inspections of these berry facilities by the state to ensure that health and safety and all that of the workers will be enforced. And also, there will be a choice for this, and it will be community service hours, which will be building the rest of the courthouse, finishing it off, or the entirety of the B movie. So it's one of those two. You get to choose.
Hang on, Jerry. What do you mean by the entirety of the B movie?
He has to sit in a video call with me, and we have to sit and watch the entirety of the B movie.
Oh, so you're gonna force the defendant to watch the entirety of the B movie?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. They have given you an option, Mr. Oh, please go ahead. Sorry.
There will be one more, and this is be towards the poor villagers that will be imprisoned, that have been imprisoned. Well, one, they must be released because that's illegal, and two, a donation of 50 iron, 5 diamonds, and 3 stacks of berries must be supplied to them upon release.
All right.
That is all.
I would still like to say something actually real quick about this, about these verdicts. So while I do understand your concerns with these villagers, I would also still like to mention that for the most part, this whole case wasn't really much so for these villagers.
Yes, but they were brought up.
They were brought up
as one of the charges. So
that was brought up, but it wasn't the main thing. It was still just a side subject. It wasn't the main issue here.
May I also bring something up to the court?
But go ahead.
In order to get certain tradings done with said villagers, they do kind of need to be in a confined space with the appropriate item of said trade that you would like to trade with. So that is what Paul has been doing from what I have seen.
Well, that would have been good to know earlier.
I would have said it earlier, but it wasn't really brought up. So
also,
most of the case was about the foxes, so that's why it was only brought up.
Well, then, if you want to bring that up and make that a specific thing, then instead of finishing the courthouse, he needs to build them. It can be small as shit, just as long as it fits what they need. Make them tiny little huts.
More proper.
Instead of cages.
So
appropriate living conditions.
That is acceptable.
All right.
Sure, it may be a company town, but it's better than just being in a cage.
Yeah. I mean, that is what the purpose of the villagers are. You have them have certain roles to trade with them so you can get certain items of said trade.
With that being the case, I take it that this court is now finished. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to thank the jury for their time with this case. Your punishments, Mr. Beanham Davis, are effective immediately. So If you want to get started now, please do. If you need the
Alright,
resources, collect them.
Please hand me your books or whatever. I have a bonfire that I will set up shortly.
Book burning.
You are all free to leave.
Wait, one of these books has to stay in records, though.
Yeah,
I
Kevin
will-
Kevin
I will
Kevin
take
has will
one-
stay in record.
Actually,
Stays in record.
Ash, I will take your book as record. I already have Miss G's right here.
I will.
All right, give me the book.
I will stitch the videos together and.
Wait, who got my book?
as
Actually,
a
if you
private.
want, you can hand them to me, Spencer.
Well,
uh,
I have to. They won't fit in Discord, so I'll just have to post them on YouTube.
Wait, right? Do you have my book?
Put them as
Right.
private for us.
What the fuck?
What happened?
All right, I'm gonna.
There's a